The Toronto Raptors have locked in multiple signings, giving us a clearer picture on how this Toronto Raptors roster is going to be structured cap-wise over the next couple of seasons. As Jonathan Mogbo as well as Jamal Shead are both on guaranteed contracts, which might become as a surprise for second rounders, and we're still not sure what the details are going to be revealed on Urlich Chomche, who has not been brought in on a contract just yet, but we did get an update on what to expect regarding his deal. So a ton of different reports, as well as the construction of the Summer League roster for this Toronto Raptors team as they begin play in Vegas very soon. So lots of stuff to sink our teeth into about. Folks, if you want to stay up to date with everything regarding this Toronto Raptors team, because rumors are starting to pick back up after the kind of dead period following the initial free agency madness. But if you're a part of the 49% that haven't hit that subscribe button just yet, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a single thing with this Toronto Raptors team. But let's dive into the news. Let's dive into what's been going on, because we have a few different reports regarding this Raptor squad here now at this point, as news has come out that the Toronto Raptors have agreed to a 3-year contract worth $6.1 million for Jonathan Mogbo, sources have told Hoopsite. Mogbo is the 31st pick in the 2024 NBA draft and gets the maximum amount allowed under the second round exception. Agent Austin Walton of the deal negotiated this contract. So, as kind of expected, Mogbo ended up getting the max sort of contract for a second round pick, which is usually projected for someone that gets drafted at 31. And obviously, he has an interesting story, interesting relationship with the Toronto Raptors, being Scottie Barnes' best friend, and did put up some pretty solid stats out there in college. Let's make this a little bit bigger here now. But basically, Jonathan Mogbo averaged 14 points per game, 10 rebounds, 4 assists out there in college, 63% from the field, 6'8", looks a little bit taller when standing next to Scottie Barnes, but definitely is a big athletic man. Not much of a history in terms of shooting the three ball, even though that's something he said he's going to develop into his game moving forward for this team, but is a decent free throw shooter and has improved year over year in college and things like that, but shot 70% from the free throw line last season. So there is some potential there as a jump shooter, but really we are getting an athletic forward that can facilitate in the mid-post area and does have me pretty excited in terms of what he'll be able to provide out there on the court for this Raptors team. But again, him being brought in as an energy big man, as a prospect that can develop into something nice in the future, does have a lot of Raptors fans excited. But that relationship with Scottie Barnes and internal development, it just makes sense for him to get that sort of guaranteed second round money. There's no real shocks, no real surprises there. But the other guy that seemed to have question marks about where he'd be situated in regards to positioning in terms of contracts was Jamal Shead. And we do have an update for him, as sources have come out and revealed that the 45th overall selection, Jamal Shead, has agreed to a 3-year, $6.11 million contract extension as well. So very similar contract to Mogbo, who was selected 31st overall. Again, the former University of Houston star guard starts his pro career on a standard contract with the first 2 seasons guaranteed. So first 2 seasons on this deal are a guaranteed contract, and apparently this was a stipulation. This is something that Jamal Shead really wanted ingrained into these lineups in terms of teams that were going to draft him, teams that were going to select him. He wanted that guaranteed money, and it kind of makes sense as to why. He is a very accomplished college basketball player, right? One defensive player of the year at just 6'1", averaged 13 points per game, 4 rebounds, 6 assists, and shot 40% from the field. Not the greatest 3-point shooter by any means, but is a good free throw shooter, leads a team, is an absolutely ferocious defender, and a guy that just projects to be a player that I look at as a steal, right? And steal gets thrown out a lot, and I didn't throw it out there for Jakob Poeltl or any of these guys, but Jamal Shead just feels like at the 45th overall selection, a steal for the Toronto Raptors, and having him under guaranteed money, because again, if these second round picks end up playing really well, I'm not sure Jamal Shead will get a ton of opportunities this season, particularly with Davion Mitchell in the lineups, but we'll see. Again, injuries always play out, and we'll see how loaded the Raptors guard depth is here now at this point, but Shead is getting that guaranteed contract. He's getting that guaranteed roster spot, as was sort of indicated during on draft night, but Shead is definitely a player that intrigues me in terms of his development, a stocky point guard that's ready to rock out. So nice acquisition there, a nice deal there for the Toronto Raptors. They have 3 years on very cheap money for Jamal Shead. And then finally, the last official contract that has come out is the Raptors assigned their second rounders, obviously to max second round exceptions, but the expectation is that Urlich Chomche will get selected to a 2-way contract, but we also had an update regarding, I didn't pull the screenshot of it. That's my apologies there. But we did sign Branden Carlsen to a 2-way contract as well. That's another report that I'm mixing up. But Branden Carlsen is a guy then we'll talk about the Urlich Chomche stuff. But Branden Carlsen is an elite 3-point shooter for a 7-footer. He can space the floor, he can block some shots, and again, is an older college guy that fits that Scottie Barnes timeline. It's not that 18, 19-year-old type of player. Masai Ujiri, in terms of his rookies, in terms of the players he's brought in, are a lot of dudes that are early 20s, but like 23, 24, 22, that range in terms of the prospects that are getting brought into this Raptors group. So they're a bit more polished than the younger prospects that are coming in. And Branden Carlsen on a 2-way deal as a big man that can space the floor and is a high IQ basketball player. Shades of Kelly Olynyk light out there at the 2-way spot. Definitely a positive acquisition for the Toronto Raptors on a 2-way position. And then as I kind of sped through there at this point, mixing up the reports, but we know they select their second rounders. But Urlich Chomche is the guy a lot of people are looking at, and he's projected to be on a 2-way deal also. He has not been signed just yet for the Toronto Raptors, but is projected to have that 2-way spot. He's in the Raptors organizations. They're filming memes. They're filming TikToks with Urlich Chomche out there. And the projected Summer League teams are already out there at this point. And DJ Carton and Mamadou Gueye were the 2-way slots. Last season, DJ Carton will still be on the team, I'd imagine. We haven't heard any updates one way or the other. But Mo Gueye has been dropped. And then we have Branden Carlsen as well as Urlich Chomche in those 2-way spots going forward. It projects. The Chomche one isn't official just yet. But the Summer League roster is looking like a pretty fun squad. I mean, we have Branden Carlsen, we have DJ Carton, interesting guys. Carton, I'm interested. I'm intrigued in. He showed some flashes of brilliance last season, but then dealt with some injuries to close off the year. But the Canadian Quincy Guerrier is going to be a 905er. But Jonathan Mogbo will be an interesting pickup. Jamal Shead, Jakob Poeltl, the whole contingent of Raptors, second rounders, first rounders, undrafted free agents, they're all going to be playing for this Raptors team come Summer League. And particularly, I'm just amped up to see this kind of group. Jakob Poeltl, him be a guy that's probably the lead scorer on this team, being able to create, prove his bucket-getting abilities that we've seen in the highlights and, the film of this guy since he's been selected by the Toronto Raptors. But really, if I just say a player I'm most excited to watch, Mogbo as well. He's going to be a hustle guy, an energy big man. But Jamal Shead, man, I'd predict this man to be an absolute monster, an absolute beast, particularly on the defensive end. And just having these high upside guys that have the potential to really take the game to the next level, especially where they're going to be a bit more polished rookies coming in. I think the Raptors are going to have a really nice Summer League team, a really fun team to follow. Again, they're going to be in the Vegas Summer League. That's going to be happening over the next couple weeks. It's going to be happening soon. I forget the specific date, but we got a lot of basketball to cover in the off season. I mean, we have the Summer League action, which is going to be fun with the whole plethora of Toronto Raptors young guys, and then also the Olympics, which is coming up, which we've been covering heavy over the course of this off season. So if you want to stay up to date with it all and you're part of the 49%, make sure you guys hit that sub button. But folks, you guys are the best making this far. The Toronto Raptors, we'll see how these young guys end up shaking out performing for this team, but I'm signing out. Cheers.